So here's how we take the dash apart. I hope the camera didn't move because the tripod's resting on the ground and the back seat. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to take off the window switch bezel. Just grab it on each side and pull back. Pull up back there and it's loose. So I think yours is a 5-speed too. You got to take the shifter boot loose so that you can manipulate the plugs underneath. It's kind of hard to do. I like to grab it up here, pull back real hard to get this tooth out from underneath, then you slide it forward and it pops loose. Fish it down through there, and then you've got all the plugs you got to take off. That's your 12-volt power supply. Passenger side windows. This one's a little tricky for power mirrors if you have them. There's a black catch that you pull up on and the gray plug slides down. A small flathead screwdriver would be really helpful. Okay, there's power mirrors. And driver's side window switch. Set that right there. Now, down here, there's a screw that holds the storage pocket to the radio bezel. Don't take that one out. You want to take out the one below it. Now, when I put mine together, I dropped one of the screws down in there and I can't find it, so I don't have a screw in position right here. But I do have the same upper and lower screws over here. 7mm socket. Reach in there and hold it while you pull it out so you don't drop it. Now that you've got those two screws loose, that's all that really holds it in place. Grab it up here, pull straight back, and now it's loose. There's a plug right here. Again, you're going to need a flathead screwdriver, which I forgot to bring out here. That disconnects the hazard switch. Getting the panel dimmer disconnected is the one that I have the most difficulty with. Again, there's a black tab. This one's on the top of the switch. Pull up on the black tab, pull straight back on the connector, and it's loose. On the back of your HVAC control head, there are 3 connections. The one on the right has a little locking tab on the right. You can pull it out. The one in the center has a large black section. This is your fan speed switch with a gray connector attached to it. On the left side of that gray plug, there's a security tab. Push it in and pull it out. Now this is the one that is the most difficult to get put back in correctly. It's your temperature setting. There are 2 large black tabs on each side of it. You squeeze those in and it pulls loose. The problem you've got is that when you turn the knob, it turns the stem that goes into this gear. So before you disconnect that, you want to look and see what position your temperature dial is in. I know that mine was set all the way to cold. now you've got all that taken apart, your radio is still in place. If you should ever need to change it, this is your body control module with these 4 plugs in it right here. But you want to know about the fan speed switch. Grab the knob on the front of it and pull it off. On the back, there are again 4 7mm screws. If you want to take the entire HVAC control off, just take out those 4 screws and it just pops right out. If you want to just remove the fan speed switch, there are 3 locking tabs. One here, one here, one here, one here, and one over here. It's pretty in there, but it comes out. It only goes back in one position. You can disassemble this switch. Take a flathead screwdriver, pop up that tab, and that tab. Again, this thing goes back together. It's got 2 rotating discs that make contacts in there. If you take it apart to clean it, you need to remember what position the switch is in. And the easiest way to do that, there's a flat side on this stem. Put a mark on that flat side and put a mark on the housing that it goes through, so that when you put it back together, you've got a reference point to line it up. Now, I'm not going to take mine apart because I've already taken it apart. It's got new grease in it, and I just don't want to do it. So, if you want to replace the fan speed switch, that's how you do it. I'm going to go ahead and put mine back together. Hold that temperature setting where you want it. If it's a degree or 2 off, it's really not going to matter. It'll just go further to cold than it will to hot. But again, if you want to correct it, take it loose, rotate it just a little bit. Reattach the connector. Now it goes all the way to hot, all the way to cold. Brake plug goes back into the fan switch. That one goes back on your control. I can't see to line that up yet. Dimmer. Make sure you got the top of it down so it doesn't miss the clips when you're putting it back in. And it's back in. Reinstall the 2 screws that hold the lower storage pocket and the bezel in place. Hopefully you will still have 2 screws and didn't lose one like I did. Those don't need to be super tight. Pull your plugs back up for your driver's side window control. Power mirrors, passenger side window controls, and your 12-volt power supply. at this point, I would turn it back on and make sure that your switches light up and your windows work. Check your power mirrors. Check your 12 volts AC if you want to. Sorry, that's DC. Turn it back off. Fish the shifter boot back up through the hole. Now this time you want to hook the front of it first, because that's a long hook and it's easier to hook it, and then pop the back in one side at a time. That kind of hooks underneath the window switch bezel, hooks under the radio trim bezel. Now I've got a problem with mine. It doesn't like to go in on this side. But you pull it over, pop it back down, and you're done. Hope that's what you needed. Hope it works for you.